if you had almost like a put together, and it's
Yep,
just something you do once. I mean, you can even do it in the email form and say, listen, these are the things that we offer for new agents. Okay, and there's other people, and as you feel you become grounded and you got a good foundation, you can kind of pull away from some of these, like Ignite. I have intentions of going to every Ignite class, probably at least twice.
yep,
And then just kind of as I need to brush up on certain.
that's exactly what I suggest with the guy.
Saying, that's probably what it is.
No, but your thought.
But then also like, hey, we do the Ignite class, because when you told me, we do Ignite Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Every
Mhm.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9:30, I was like, okay, cool, in my calendar, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9:30, I'm gonna be here. And then you said Hunter on Thursday from 2 to 4, okay, great, if I ever have questions, I go to Hunter. Tuesday, team meeting, okay, that's what was on my calendar, and then I'm like, then when she said that yesterday, I'm like, well, shit, I could really, and we're lucky that we got on the subject, because we were talking about a packet put together for a buyer's presentation.
Uh-huh.
And I go, so where do we get that, or do we just kind of have to create that ourselves? And I was like, oh, you can get it at productivity, the team meeting. So I'm not taking. So anyway, because I mean, there is so much, and for somebody who's not super technical,
Oh, yeah.
for me, it's like information overload, so I'm picking up little bits and here and there. And I always, whenever this happens, I'm like, I guess I'm the average, because the average person only remembers 7 to 10% of what they hear, the first time
Yep.
they hear it over and over. So, and if you want help with that, I could try to help you out, or I can try to put together.
Well, I was gonna say, I have a handful of things, because we've gone in and out with different like onboarding and packets and things. And is it a class? Is it a document? Is it an email? So we have like a lot of iterations, but probably your feedback would be very helpful.
It's more for me, just like a roadmap, like.
Yep.
Where do I start? What is,
Okay, I'm gonna send you something after this, and I
What?
want you to,
a video or,
it's a Google spreadsheet
oh,
of like everything that you should do and keeping you on track with all of it. Yeah.
yeah. Because I look back at when I started my, inspection company,
Mhm.
and I was laughing about this with my wife the other day. I'm like, no, I've gotta have this, and I've gotta have this, and I gotta have this, and I was cleaning out my desk the other day, I'm like, this is something I had to have, and I never used it. And I'm like, because, you're kind of like, okay, in my mind, what do I think I need?
Yep.
But you guys are the professionals, and you're like, no, don't waste your time with that. That's something you can worry about down the road. Like, do I need to get business cards right away? Probably, but before I get business cards, I probably want to set up a website so I can put that information on the card.
Yep.
Some things like that, you and I would think of, but some people may not,
Yeah.
especially younger kids that are
Oh,
looking
yeah.
to get into the business.
That's a
They're like,
great thought.
what do I need to do? So just kind of that roadmap of, this is what I would set up first, then you kind of start looking at this, phase 2, phase 3, so on and so forth. But just feedback again, I'm not telling you to do your job. Like,
No, well,
it's gonna be as good.
and I love feedback, because I was a new agent 11 years ago, almost 12 now. So when I look up and think like, what do they need? Like, I can think where you should focus, and it's very logical to me. But logic and emotion are not the same. When you're like, I don't know what to put on my website, so I have a website so I can build a business card. And so you get like almost analysis paralysis, because you're like stuck. Like all of that is like, why? Like you don't even need 99% of your problems are made up, and just do this. And I forget that it's like, it's logical and simple to me, but it's also because I've been doing this for so long. And so,
You got your.
yep, I've got all my ducks in a row, and I know that that duck doesn't matter, kind of a concept. Even like, I often make this joke that new agents spend more time building a listing presentation than going on listing appointments. And it's like, that kind of makes sense and kind of doesn't, right? If you don't have a listing packet, how are you ever going to do a good listing presentation? But if you never have an appointment scheduled, why do you need the packet? So it's like a chicken and egg kind of thing, like which do you work on? Do you prospect to go find your appointment when you don't have your presentation set? Or do you set your presentation up not having an appointment? And in my mind, I'm like, let's go get appointments because you know what? Sellers don't even care if you have a packet. But it helps me, I have a packet
Mhm.
and it's to keep me on track. Like half the time I do slideshows for what I want to talk about because I need to keep me on track
On your listing appointments?
on everything that I do.
You do a PowerPoint.
I do a lot of PowerPoint, not on listing presentations. I don't like PowerPoints as much
Okay.
because they're harder to jump around on when someone brings up a question, but then I have a packet. Josh, how you doing? Okay. We're just waiting a little bit. Traffic sucked, so I've gotten, yeah, coming southbound. I don't know why. There was no reason for there to be traffic.
I got a great like setup because my kid's school starts at 8, so I drop them off at 7:45 and straight here and I kind of get quiet time and do what I need to do here.
Nice.
It gives me some of that. I mean, I have an office and also. So it's okay to work out of there, but ADHD, so I'm kind of like, I think, you know.
Yeah,
I
oh.
come back, I kind of have to get back into the thing, so.
Yeah.
But back to what we were talking about, it is information or analysis process. It's like, you know, where should I focus my efforts at first? And when you were talking about, you know, do I get a presentation or do I get the appointment? In my mind, I'm kind of like, I need to get the information that I want to give these people and sound, you know, somewhat like I have an idea of what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Because if
yeah.
I don't, they're gonna- just don't worry about it. But not that I need to be 100%, you know, educated on this, because I will always have questions, you know, like, what if I do this? Like, I'm laying in bed last night, I'm thinking, I wonder if the transaction coordinator fee is deductible on my taxes. And it's funny, because I'm always thinking of something, I look at my wife, I'm like, hey, what you thinking about, babe? She's like, nothing. I'm like, what do you mean nothing? How do you think of nothing? Like black space? You think
Yeah.
of black space? I mean, you can't think about nothing.
I often will say nothing because I'll say nothing because my thoughts are like that, where I'm like, I wonder if this is tax deductible. And I was like, what are you thinking about? I was like, if I say taxes, you're gonna make fun of me, so.
Or I don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, from my perspective, I think that would be a huge benefit, especially for people just walking in the dark, because
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Even my meeting, Shoney's presentation to me was, there was a lot. I mean, there's a lot going on.
Yes.
And so I'm like, but I more kind of focused in and keyed in on the things that were important to me. You know, the profit share, whatever, great. Glad you have it.
Yep.
But that's not a focus for me. I mean, that's only, you know, down the road type of thing. But he needs to put those in the presentations because it's a benefit package.
Yeah, yeah, to some people, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I can get money for just telling people to come here, like I would do if I had a good experience anyway.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, and over time, you'll end up getting. mean,
Yeah.
Like.
I made $250 last month for doing nothing.
I have tuned in to certain things with the Ignite classes, like Amy, when she was like, yeah, you know, I set up my open houses and I have this little QR code at the door. She goes, it's great because it would just scan it on the way in, I capture the contact information, and then it routes me straight to my website. And I'm thinking, okay, the QR code, because that's the easiest way for me to capture, you know, contact information. Because sometimes with certain people, it's a little awkward to be like, hey, can I get your email address, your phone number, your address, and you're trying to get all this information, and I don't know you that well, you know, and me, I'm skeptical. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't want to give people my email address because I get so much junk.
Yes.
in my email. Like, I met with Adrian, she's at all the Tuesday meetings with,
Yeah.
anyway. So she had called me and she goes, yeah, let me get your email address and I'll go ahead and send you that. And I said, I'll give you this email address, but I don't want all your junk now.
Yes.
And I just don't want it all. Once I get my KW email set up, you can have that, go ahead. But I kind of want to separate those two. And
Did you ever set up your KW email?
I have one.
Okay.
And I was trying to figure out how to update certain platforms with it, because they're still sending information to my personal one.
Mm,
Oh,
oh, yeah, that is a
So-
freaking nightmare.
is it great? Thanks.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
No, I have like 3 different email addresses that stuff go to, and I don't know where it's to. It is awful,
You mean
like,
like KW
Yep.
website or?
yep, so I have some stuff like KW International has one email address, our office probably has all 3 email addresses. UCAR has one, like, it's like everything is just kind of different.
Yeah.
So,
Well, once the dust kind of settles, I'm gonna, and kind of, I feel like I've got a good foundation, then I'm gonna go back in and try to figure all that out. Call
Yeah.
if I have to, I'll call in, but,
yeah, can't reply to emails you get because they don't look at those. It's just like,
well, yeah, I'm just super simple, do not reply.
yeah.
But I said you would do not reply. If you have to list, don't reply.
Yep,
And it almost seems like I like to travel, like when I'm in the airport, because I got 2 hours to go through and unsubscribe to everything.
yep,
And it just takes so long, but it almost seems like you get more after that. Or they ignore it, they're like, oh, you were just kidding, you still want our stuff.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, the funniest to me is when you unsubscribe from an email and they're like, we'll update our system and you'll be fully unsubscribed within 3 weeks. I'm like, how?
Should've worked faster.
Like, it is instant, right this second that I don't want an email, but yet you're still gonna send me emails for 3
And
weeks.
then when they get your email, it's 1 day before you start getting them.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I woke up, I had 30 emails and I looked through it and 2 were actually from people. I'm like, that is a bad stat.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah,
For like a seller presentation,
uh-huh,
on the Keller Williams website, I found like resources where you can go in and fill in your own stuff, like templates.
yep.
Is there anything that is at an existence like, on like maybe Google Drive, where there's something like that, or it's already filled out?
Yep. Ritz, are you paying attention? Do you have the listing and buyer packet links?
Yes,
Can you even just message me with those and I'll send it out?
No, you said you found it on the KW site, important
Under
documents,
resources, I think. And marketing.
key resources, marketing services.
Yeah, Ritz has built some good looking ones that are like, I think Shoney uses them exactly how, as is, and so you just might need to update your picture.
Where is he?
Ritz, he's in the Philippines.
That's an
Yeah.
odd number, 6-3 dash something.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Cam.
Say his phone number. I'm not seeing it.
Ooh, that's the best link. Okay. Hey Josh, did you ever get past the black screen when you went to KW Westfield? Okay. In that. Oh, this is like everything I've been thinking about. It's yeah, if you can log into that, then this link will get you to a bunch of things.
Are you able to share that link?
Oh yeah. Hello, you two. All right, we're gonna go. We got enough people. Mariah's on way too.
Good morning, Bill. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
Kylie, when you wake up in the morning.
Like this.
And is it basically the same but opposite when you're going to sleep? You're just like jumping around, all of a sudden you just lay down and you,
Pretty much.
okay.
Yeah, once the silk bonnet goes on, I just, I did. So, yes.
All right, everybody, let's jump into this. All right, tell me something good from the week. What'd you learn? What happened well? Got over COVID. You're a survivor. Because I'm pretty sure I'm immune to COVID. I've never had it. I've tested negative multiple times. My wife has had it multiple times and I have tested negative. So I'm immune.
Yeah, I think I'm just like,
I found a study that they were studying people that never got COVID. And I tried to apply, but it was like in New York and I would have to fly there. I was like, no, they wouldn't even give me any money to study me. Yeah. I was like, nah, I'm out. I'm out. I'm not spending my money to fly to New York for you to do tests on me and not give me any money. All right, what else? Anything good? Anyone help you this week?
That's good information from every aspect.
She is a sharp tool.
She's
She and Amber, she knows her stuff. Yeah,
It was a good class.
Of course, I can't honestly say that I've been in one class where I don't get good information from, or, you know, you have your aha moments where you're like,
Oh, Karen loves to hear
with
that.
me, they're not so much aha moments, they're like, duh. Oh, I should've figured out a long time ago.
I was talking to, Dan the other day, Kennedy.
oh yeah, Dan Kennedy.
It was an interesting conversation.
He's one of my favorite here. Yeah,
Why-
He's like very short to the point,
yep,
like he's not gonna expand on stuff that you don't specifically ask for, you know?
nope. When you meet him, you don't think that is an agent, right? Like when you think of an agent, you think of like the Clay Winders, who else just taught Ignite that's very much like that. Kylie. Look at Kylie jumping around bubbly, like that's how you're thinking, life of the party, like you walk around the office, you see a lot of these people that are all like this. And then you meet Dan Kennedy and he is like the complete opposite of what you would expect. And he crushes it.
I don't think I saw him smile. Started, I probably saw it like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for like 15, 20 minutes, like not a crack. Just like,
So,
yeah, that's how it is.
yeah, and he sells
Yeah, that's
30, 40, 50 houses a year, yeah.
Is that? That's a lot.
Yeah, like 30 houses, average 12 grand commission, so you're probably 300,000,
Let me put it this way,
350.
transactions,
Uh-huh.
buying and selling. Is that's really good, 30?
The average agent in the nation does 3 right now.
What?
Yes,
Well,
yes.
my
It
goal was
used,
lofty.
no, it used to be 9 when I got in the business, then it slowly trickled down to 8 and then 7. And then I didn't pay attention for a while and now all of a sudden it's 3.
It's wow. Yeah, 12
3.
months.
Is that
In
just
12
because so
months.
many agents are like very
Lazy.
part-time?
I think so.
Lazy people? What, so like low hanging.
For example, Kylie, how many have you closed so far?
4 on Friday.
4 on Friday. How many do you have under contract?
6. No, total, let me think.
So you'll be at,
So I have this closing Friday and then 3 more under contract.
so 7
total.
total. And don't you have a listing?
Yes, that's under contract.
So, so we're at 7. So you're more than double an agent. So you at 7 means that an agent is gonna close 0. And we'll average out at about 3. If Dan Kennedy closes 30, then that means that there are 9 other agents that are gonna close 0. And I think it's a lot of people, like, for a long time, I closed 0 every single year. But it wasn't because I didn't generate any business, I just didn't do the closings. Because I was running the team, so I would just pass people off to the team. So my stat was 0, even though I'd always close a handful of deals.
Well, there's- I've met quite a few people who got their real estate license, but they do something else. For
Yeah.
instance, she worked in real estate, she decided to open her own barber shop. She's owner and operator of the barber shop, and she still keeps her license, because she says, if I ever decide to go back or pull on, back on something, or if somebody needs something, I can help. and it was a pain in the ass to get, and I don't want to have to go through. That's
Yep.
what she said, so.
Yep,
So there's the.
it's easier to keep up with it than to get it again.
In people's mentality of real estate agents, I mean, with working with inspection, I understood that, you know, I could see the difference between the agents that I had a lot of respect for, they were really good at their job, and ones that really didn't care, they kind of just, you know, did the minimum. And I've had other people say, oh, yeah, agents, all they do is they walk people around through houses and they sell them, and make a bunch of money. And I'm like.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Oh, man.
That would be nice if that was our whole job.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome to the team, newbies. Josh, Bill, your first time, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so some upcoming trainings we have on Tuesday for team meeting, KWT meeting, we are doing crucial conversations. So, I don't know, they talk about how real estate is a tale of two different markets, right? And we shift, and most people think buyer's market, seller's market. I'm talking about skills-based market and speed-based market are the two that they talk about a lot. So the speed-based market, we have a little of that going on right now. Like, Amy, how many offers did you get on your listing?
3.
So you needed to be fast and get to that listing so that you could actually be part of that. So you needed skill or speed to be part of Amy's transaction. Most of sellers and everything, it is all a skills-based market right now. If you are being interviewed and you ask them, are you interviewing other agents? And they say, yes, you need to be more skilled than speed, right? So right now we are in a skills-based market. You need more skills than you do being fast. When COVID started, that was all speed. You're the first person to that lead. If you were the first person to that house, the first person to listing, you typically got it. Now it's a little more skills. You need to know your stuff. So that's the big focus. Negotiation mastery, client communications, pricing strategies, and handling objections. So that will be a good one. So come on Tuesday. And then the week after that, we're gonna have Shoni interviewing Lane Thompson. If you do not know Lane, you should, because he is amazing. Every time I talk to him, I'm like, man, I just want to be his best friend. So come to that following week. Ignite, it's coming. Let's see, what's tomorrow? Win the Seller. With someone, I just looked it up right before this. Let's see. Yep, Courtney. And then we'll see who teaches on Monday. I have a couple of messages out, so. Yes. Yeah, so, and Courtney's awesome, so definitely come tomorrow, 9:30. And we're chugging right along through all of these. You blink and September will be over. All right, upcoming trainings for us. Later today at 1 o'clock, we are going to write offers. So we're going to do a mock writing offers. If you want help with that, probably be in the Gary Keller conference room at 1. Next week, we are going to talk about our marketing plan. I emailed all of you yesterday about some of these changes. I want to lay out the vision for what we're going to do and then start going on that. And then the next week, we're going to work on building our database out more. No, you text me that you love the email.
Oh, okay.
That's the
A
email.
couple days ago.
Yeah.
These PC trainings.
Yes.
Can we sign them remotely? I'm gonna be traveling.
We record almost all of them. Except for the foundation training, the writing offers, the CMA, sending and showing properties.
That was good.
Yeah. But I redo them every month. So if you're like, I missed out, like, every week. And then Hunter's today at 3 for case study or for, tech, whatever he calls it. And Jeanette with case studies at 1. Yes.
So you're still doing case studies at 1 and you're doing foundation training?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then how is our newsletter coming? Because you said it might be ready.
I'm hoping that it's ready. I was talking to Nicole yesterday, and it sounds like she should be able to finish it up today or tomorrow.
Okay, cause I was thinking I might go to Hunter at 3
Yes,
and then you could show me in command.
you should, and then you could teach all of us. Yeah, I think I know how to do it. But I haven't tried yet. So I'm gonna make, either way, I'm gonna make Hunter record a video on exactly how to send out the email, so if you can't make it. We're gonna have him record a little video.
What I'm curious about is if we can have a active list on a static list. Because that's the one thing I've been trying to figure out,
Hmm,
is sending out mass emails through command. I have to recreate the list anytime I add more.
oh,
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Showing me how to do it.
I think you
She said
can,
put
You
each
just-
time.
yeah, I think you
That
can,
would mean it's just like static list that doesn't automatically update new people into the list.
Oh, so you're not wanting to click on each time you send it.
yeah, like if you have 1,000 people, it goes to, that takes a long time to click
Yeah,
them.
so that I've done added like farms into my CRM, so I'm like 1,100, 1,200 contacts. I don't wanna.
Yeah.
Like each one.
Yeah,
You
I-
add a tag to them, especially with the farming.
You can, but it's a static list still, so it won't automatically add them into an app, does that make sense? Like, there's,
yeah. I think, you can add people to smart plans, and I think that's the easiest way of like mass add, but that's not static. That's how I think you have to do it, so. Yeah. Maybe it's a thing, maybe it's not. Okay, I have a script challenge, everyone pick a buddy. Or a trio buddy. And you're talking to a lead, I heard this yesterday from someone, another agent had this exact question. So I'm gonna wait till after the election, because I don't wanna buy a house, because I think so-and-so is gonna win or lose or whatever, it doesn't matter. So, pick your buddies. And I want one of you to be the lead, and then the other one answer that. And then we're gonna talk about it. Let's do this, alright, I'm the lead. Alright, Josh. Yep.
you'll be the client.
Alright. Yeah, I wanna sell my house, but I think I'm gonna wait till after. the
Okay.
election. Why do I wanna buy?
Okay, you start.
Yeah, that sounds actually like not too bad of an idea. I understand where you're coming from. That can make sense. But also, one thing you might wanna consider is real estate value always is increasing. So no matter what you buy, the value is gonna be lost to some degree the longer you wait.
Okay.
So the property value increases with time. So for example, my property has increased over the last 3 years. About $100,000. Or money you can sell. You're in a position to find out. You're gonna be missing out on money the longer you wait. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I feel you, election time is always scary. However,
Then in.
there is a downside to waiting.
There was a
The longer
change.
you wait, the more money.
There's a lot of.
Those
In
investments.
this case, time is
Interest rates went up, inflation went up.
I like that.
So there's a
Like that.
concern. And I'm just. Making a decision now until I see where we're going.
Best time to buy real estate is always right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like. It's like when you were 2 years old was probably the best time to buy real estate,
That's right.
like a tree. Best time is
Go buy.
planted 30 years ago or today.
So that.
Compounding interest. You said $20 20 years ago, how much money you have?
Yeah.
Buy a $100,000 property right now somewhere in the world. We're $100,000.
All right, let's talk about it. Who had a good way to twist this? What did you like? What did you not like? What did you wish you would have done?
As the lead
Yeah,
with her, there's, she's not pushy, it's not over the top, and doesn't make people feel stupid. You know, sometimes you can be like, You know, in not so many words, well, that's dumb. I mean,
Yeah.
why would you wanna do that? Now you're just waiting and you're losing equity in that time frame until this election happens. And there may not be any change before to after the election, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So she doesn't make me feel stupid. She's asking me questions, trying, almost like, I think it's wrong, almost like a psychologist.
Yeah,
Where they wanna lead you to your own answer.
yeah,
And
because it is
that answer
dumb.
needs
This is
to
a
be yes.
dumb objection, right? What's gonna change if one or the other person wins? It doesn't matter.
But I think one point that I would always put up is historically, property has always gained value. You may see it dip a little bit.
Yep, that's how
but it will
Josh
always
did it.
go up. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah. At
Yep.
first, she thought I was talking about investment. I was on the.
Yeah, I heard you say investment when I was started everything over here, so I was like.
yeah, that's what Josh was saying. Why wait? Home values go up. So potentially you could be spending more money after the election.
Yeah, you can either make more by buying now or pay more by buying later.
Yeah,
The only hesitation I would see is people saying, well, but interest rates, you know, I'm hoping that interest rates come down. And that's where we would probably use our, experience with.
Take the
Wait a
rate.
minute, interest rates are not that high,
No.
unfortunately.
do you know the average rate since the 2000s? Is 6%.
Six?
We're right at average since the 2000s. If you go back to the 80s, it's like 7.5%. So we're below average. Yeah, yeah. So, and this is very similar to what the question that we were talking about yesterday, like fall, winter is coming, I'm just gonna wait. It's the whole wait. Why are you waiting? Like, we're obviously talking to why are you bringing it up? Why did you start looking to this? Like, what's your motivation now? And how does the election, the weather, the whatever change that? And usually it doesn't, right? It's just an excuse, a smoke screen. If they find the right house, they'll buy it. If they get the right offer, they would sell it. So it doesn't matter.
So are you suggesting that when we start getting pushback like that, and we get to the point where we've kind of run out of steam, that we say, well, how about this? How about, I'll just send you some things, and if you see something you like, we can go take it. There's
Yep.
no pressure to buy now, and if you find something you like, then, maybe we can move forward.
Yeah, I throw out hypotheticals like that all the time. Like, hey, if I found the perfect house today, would you want to go see it and potentially make an offer? If it was like a great deal, everything checked all your boxes, or do you have to wait till after the election? So you would lose out on the perfect home. And go, oh, if it's the perfect home, I do go for it. It's like, great, then the election doesn't really matter. You just think things might get better or in a way might get worse, which will help you get a house for cheaper. Like, I don't know what they're waiting for or hoping for. And it's the same conversation of like, I gotta wait till the summer. It's like, are you hoping to get more money? Like, what's your hope there? So. Okay,
I lost your job on Friday, and I was supposed to, the day before closing.
that is the worst. Okay. All right, let's talk about communicating your value. This is the most important thing right now. Because. Sounds like it's falling off the wall. I know. Last week I almost canceled these because no one came except for Amy. But then Amy and I had like the best meeting, so I was like, screw it. If me and Amy just hang out together, we'll do it. Okay, something that Shoni said yesterday, and he said it as a quote, it was written on the board differently, but then he changed it in his mind, and I thought, this is an awesome idea. The value give determines the income you earn. I was thinking a lot about this yesterday. I was running payroll for the Red Sign team. And yeah, I know, they pay me for it. And I was realizing that there are employees that do about the same job that all get paid different amounts of money. I thought that was so interesting. And it's not like how long they've been with the company. They're all about the same time. There is one new guy. There's one that's been here like a year and a half and one that's like 2.5 years. So it's like not that crazy, but they all have made different amounts of money this year. Do you know what it is? It's 100% of the value they have given the company. Their job is inside sales agents where they get paid based off of leads that end up closing. But then we have other employees, like admin type employees, it's like, they get paid different amounts for their different admin work, and they are not bringing in leads and things like this. So the value you give determines the income you earn. You want to earn more money, give more value. Does anyone pay for something that they're like, I don't know why I'm paying this much money? And then you go to that place and you're like, I get it. I get it. Like Ruth's Chris, do they have a better steak than Texas Roadhouse?
Yeah.
But they are both steaks. You guys want to know something? I went to Ruth's Chris with Hunter one time. He ordered ketchup to put on his steak.
No.
Yes, I apologized to everyone in the restaurant multiple times for him. Like when he asked for it, I looked at the waiter, I said, don't bring that. And he's like, no, it's so good. I was like, the steak is so good. Don't ask for this, Hunter. You're not allowed to do this. So if you want to make fun of him, you can. Okay, so think about this. Imagine that you are work at a restaurant. You get tips. How much would your clients be tipping you right now for what you are offering them? Are you a Texas Roadhouse or are you a Ruth's Chris? Live question. How do you feel? You're a Ruth's Chris?
Like, right below Ruth's Chris, I haven't figured out how to make the beef sizzle yet.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like either of those.
What?
I only like my meat marinated, like.
Okay,
all
I got one
flavors
for
on
you.
the outside. I'm like, I don't.
We have this 10.99 sushi next to Subway, or you could go to like Tsunami. Wait, what'd you say? Where's your sushi place?
Both gross.
Tsunami is delicious.
Sushi is disgusting.
But, okay.
All right.
There's some good rolls, but.
McDonald's or Chick-fil-A?
I'm just. It's really hard to yeah.
Taco Bell, Del Taco, both bad and both delicious.
Okay, what we've learned is people are complicated, so everybody's gonna feel differently about the level of service we provide.
Yeah, she doesn't even like either of our restaurants that are both delicious.
So what I just picked up from this whole conversation is kind of what you just said, your value to each person is going to be different. You need to cater to that
Yes.
person.
Yes.
You know,
This drives me nuts.
Maybe you just
What's
don't
that?
think it against
I'm-
me too.
I'm a systems person. I would love like building a factory, like that sounds like a cool idea because it is like
Conveyor belt of
process
documents.
after process, yes. Like that is my dream. And real estate is 100% different than that. When people are like, oh, hey, tell me about the process. I could draw you out the process and then I can tell you it's not gonna be like that. Guarantee you're gonna have problems, things will come up. So how I have always seen it is I have my process, and when something goes wrong, I am going to solve that problem better and quicker and more communicative. Is that a word? Communicative. There's extra syllables in that. And that is how I add extra value. There's good and bad about this. If you have a smooth transaction, you feel like you overpaid for me. If you have a bumpy transaction, you feel like I am the best agent ever. So it's like hit and miss with that. Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's this problem.
He's like, okay, this is gonna be a reoccurring client, so I gotta make sure that they know that I'm feeling really good.
Yes, which, by the way, you should do this. Have you ever done something for someone and they don't even realize you do this? A great example, me and my wife. She does all of these things in the daytime and I walk into the house and my house looks the same as when I left it. So what happened in that day? Nothing happened in the day. Yes. So she has to tell me all of the things that she did that day so that I appreciate how much work she put in, even though I left with a clean house and I come home to a clean house. There was a lot of work in between that. A lot of the time, it's like that with your clients. You need to tell them you're even doing something with them. Like, hey, you know what? I have actually looked at properties every single day this week, and I don't think any of them match what you're looking for. So yes, I haven't reached out with a property we should see, but it's because I don't think you'll like any of them. Like, that could be a real conversation you have with your buyers. Hey, sellers, we had 3 showings, and guess what they told me about your listing? Nothing. Not a single one of them gave me feedback. I called them, I texted them, I emailed them, and no one told me anything. So what does that mean? Nothing. Your house is middle of the road. Probably don't tell them that. Every year, NAR does this study. They ask a lot of questions. I have never been asked, so I'm kind of upset about this. But they asked, what do you want most from your real estate agent as a buyer? And so if I mean, they group them by age, but I just like does that add to 100? Yep, this would be the most. So number 1 is finding the right home to purchase. I feel like that one's loaded with a whole bunch of things. Like, is that searching? Is that narrowing it down? Is that actually like doing prospecting to find the home? I don't know. Help negotiate the terms of the sale, help with price negotiations, help with paperwork, determine what comparables homes are selling for, help determine how much the buyers can afford, find and arrange financing, teach buyer more about the neighborhoods or area, help find renters or other. Nobody cares about you finding renters for the property. Isn't that interesting? Not a single person. Maybe it used to be a thing, but now it's not.
Outside of the spectrum.
Yep. Yeah. Kelly has a fourplex right now. If she finds a buyer that doesn't buy her fourplex and won't goes and buys a different one, that buyer statistically won't care if you are able to help them find renters. That should not be your value add. So just looking at this, if you were to walk in and see a buyer, what would you say your value is? What would you tell them?
Do consistent research to find the right house for them, because those are the biggest numbers. Everything's around 50%.
Yep.
That's what the biggest.
I'm gonna help you find the right home.
Right.
What that means is I might tell you no when you're like, I like this home. I might tell you no because it's wrong for you. You're gonna do some searching, I'm gonna do some searching, whatever that looks like. The other thing, sorry, it's so small. I'll read it. I was trying to cut this out, but everything was so good. It says, as buyers reflected on the experience, they reported that the most commonly cited benefits provided by real estate agents during their home purchase were helping the buyer understand the process, 61% like that, pointing out unnoticed features or faults with the property, 58%, sounds like an inspector, negotiating better sales contract terms, 46%, providing a better list of service providers like home inspectors, 46%, improving buyers' knowledge of this area, 45%, negotiating better price, 33%, shortening a buyer's home search, 23%. Maybe that's like, is they're finding too many properties and they narrowed it down. Expanding, the exact opposite, 21%. When choosing an agent, the buyer said their top criteria were the agent's experience, 21%, honesty and trustworthiness at 19%, reputation at 15%, and whether the sales agent was a friend or family member, 12%. The agent reputation tended to be slightly more important in older generations than younger ones. Home buyers also said they valued constant communication from the real estate agent, identifying their top likes as agents who personally call them to inform them of the activities, 73%. Those who send them properties, information, and communicating via text message, 71%, and those who send them postings as soon as the property is listed or when the price changes or the listing is under contract, is 70%. Lot of information to unpack here. So remember all of this. Let's skip sellers. Let's not even talk about sellers right now, because we could do this whole thing for sellers, but we'll probably spend a lot of time. So, Keller Williams, if you guys remember, they did this class called Valued Squared, which we're trying to do a lot more of this. They have this model. So first you need to establish and build trust, right? It was literally mentioned there, trustworthiness is big. So you need to demonstrate knowledge, skills, and experience. This might just be the way that you are talking. A common objection that new agents get that experienced agents don't have is, how long have you been in the business? I don't know what it is. Somehow new agents tend to say things that make the buyers and seller ask them that, but experienced agents don't rarely or don't often get that.
The only question I've got like that is, like FISBO.
Yeah, that crazy one. Yeah.
But they asked, they didn't ask that, but they did ask like, hey, we're comparing agents against each other. So send over your portfolio so we can see how many deals you've done. And that's the way that they were old, so like that stat that Karen just read about, like, you know, status and age. The older people care about that. But the only time ever it's been brought up.
You Spider-Man, that was good.
He has kids.
Okay, so number one, you establish and build a trust. Number two, these are like our breads here, is provide fiduciary representation. What does that mean?
Everyone should know that.
But like we're real estate test, what's fiduciary representation?
Your obligation to represent, so their needs first and be transparent, honest. What's your name?
I have to do it in the old car. I only had it.
Old car? Is that-
Loyalty, disclosure,
Confidentiality.
confidentiality. Accounting for funds, so like money and stuff, and then. Bar. No,
What's the difference between a fiduciary and a functionary?
Yes. Johnny's talked about this.
Isn't a functionary somebody who's like, has one specific role?
Just going through the motions.
Yeah.
They're just doing the functions, they're not, adding like the care,
Oh,
transparency, they're just doing, helping them, it's like a transaction coordinator.
Yeah.
They're just going through the functions.
To buy a house, you need to go through all of these things. Right? You need to get pre-approved. You need to meet with them to sign a buyer broker. You need to go see the houses. You need to make an offer. Like, you can check all of these boxes. A fiduciary is the one that actually cares about the whole process. So, for example, you might hear like earnest money should be like 0.5% to 1% of the payment of the purchase price. Thanks. So a fiduciary would try to figure out what would be the best for that client and put that in the contract. A functionary would say 0.5% check. And they wouldn't even think twice. Often we get in these like, I think of like a robot, right? That would check these things off. So be fiduciary because they get paid more money, right? This is not a knock on Jeanette, but how much do we pay Jeanette every transaction? $350. How much do you get paid every transaction? The
Negotiate.
rest of it. She might try to be fiduciary, but she is a little more functionary in nature. So she gets paid functionary money, which is not a lot. If you are a door opener, what does the opportunity chat always say?
25, 30.
I'll pay you 25, 30, 40 bucks. Could you sell someone a house by showing them one house? And make a full commission from that? And so fiduciaries get paid more. So inside of our sandwich, we have provide core services, which is the what we do, deliver the client experience, which is how we do it, and then surprise and delight, the extras. I want to spend the most time on these 3 and 4 today, what we do and how we do it. I think you guys will all try to establish and build trust. That's just kind of natural. Good agents do that. Hopefully you're bought in to be the fiduciary and represent the best interests of the clients the whole time while getting paid the most amount of money that you should get paid. But let's talk about what you do and how you do it. Couple of slides here. Remember, value is the heart of all businesses because all businesses are an exchange of value. You determine the value that you provide and your clients determine how valuable it is to them. As you move past transaction, focus on deepening the relationships. Think of it this way: product, services, and touch programs needed to be either useful or needed. If something is useful or needed, it's relevant. If something is relevant, it's valuable. I am a technology nerd. I already know that I'm going to buy the new iPhone. They announce it on the 9th. I have the iPhone 14 and I am going to buy the iPhone 15. Is that what we're on?
No.
15. I have, okay, I have the 15. I am going to buy the 16. Because Apple has provided value to me. I have my iPad with the little Pencil Pro. I have my MacBook Pro. Everything is Apple in my world. When people are like, I see commercials and my son sees a commercial of the Google Pixel or whatever it is, and they take a picture and then they do like AI change things with it. And he's like, can I get a Google phone? You know what I tell him? No. You're not gonna get Google phone, and you're 10, you don't need a phone at all, but it's definitely not gonna be a Google. How is Apple more valuable to me? Because I have already decided I'm gonna pay whatever Apple says that new phone is worth.
I think you should just exchange it, maybe.
I'm definitely gonna exchange it,
Yeah,
yes,
I was asking about the book one. I need to do the phone, but I like the both ones.
yeah,
They might be-
you're crazy, you're crazy. Why is Apple more valuable to me than Google? Or why is Google more valuable to Apple to other people? Dean would never go to an Apple phone. He's everything. I don't even know. Samsung is maybe one he has. I don't know. What's-
Exclusive, everything else plays nice, you know.
Yes. I like things and it's valuable to me. So I am all about that. You are not going to get me to switch to Google. I even have like Google mesh. It's like the internet in my house. And I have like the Google, like even on my desk, I have a Google thing. If Apple had a better version of that, I would have Apple.
Well, they have, hacks, what are they called? No, they don't.
Yeah, they don't. They had like a speaker pod thing, but it wasn't as good. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna work together to build out the value, specifically for a buyer. So we are gonna start by making a list of all the touches we make, circle the ones that are needed and useful, and review the list of touches which is not needed or useful, and then figure out what we could do. So walk me through a buyer. What happens first?
You get us contracts,
Go even back further.
Contact.
a lead.
Yeah, we're gonna call it a lead, right? Like they come to you or you go to them and they say, I'm gonna buy a house.
You guys, since we're a team, can I just share something? I just got a text like 10 minutes ago.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Andy, I heard that you're a realtor. We're just closing on our home in Ohio. Can you show us some homes tonight? That's a lead, right?
Lead, boom.
Yeah. Anyways, that's exciting. So exciting. Right?
So what touches do you have with these leads?
I'm sorry.
Wait, what's next? We'll do touches in a minute. Lead goes to,
Appointment? Decision?
yeah, I'd say an appointment, right? Because that's the whole goal. How do I get them in the office? How do I get them to sign the buyer broker? Which we're gonna make that a whole nother step. Buyer broker agreement. From buyer broker, where do you go? Showings. From that, where do you go? You do an offer, some negotiation. And what? And we're just gonna group it, even though there's like 1,000 things in under contract. Yeah,
And then there's just lots of tears and then closing.
closed. Yeah, lots of things. Okay, so tell me about the touches. Tell me about the touches that you make in this lead.
DTV2, is that how you say it?
Yep, so you're doing like the check-ins, I'm actually gonna call that check-ins.
I
like Angie Fisher's, like, pretty good song, like the Ghostbusters. Oh, yeah,
Like, right, like.
Okay, so we have some check-ins.
Seminars, like, calling them about the
So-
next.
Yeah, so like the generation, like the getting them as a lead. What else do you do for leads? Any other touches?
Events.
Events?
Newsletters?
Yeah, yeah, we'll send them emails, mailers. I'm gonna put houses. You send them houses, right? That's part of the emails, but I think that's very different. Once they say like this lead that Amy just got, it is not yet in an appointment. What needs to happen with that lead? What kind of touches?
To explain, I mean, I don't know, I'm a friend of hers, I need to explain the BBA, I need to explain how. I'm not
Yes.
gonna be able, I can't just show her home,
So,
I'm gonna need to.
oh, Kylie,
explain all
go.
that.
Okay, so in order, at least in my experience, in order to convert a lead to an appointment, I have to do a couple things. I have to understand what are their goals, what do they have those goals? And then I have to be able to, in a casual manner, communicate how I can help them achieve those goals. Oh yeah, so understand their motivation.
I just wanted to use different words, so it sounds like I'm controlling this, rather than you know everything.
Go back to what we were just talking about, the value, so you're showing the value of buying a home, the value of using you to purchase that home.
Yep.
So just really kind of, how you say it, like essentially just explaining the value, you know.
Could you buy a house without doing an appointment?
Could I buy a
Yeah.
house?
Like
I
if you were the
definitely
buyer
said-
and I said, hey, you wanna buy a house, let's do it. You wanna write an offer? Do I need to do an appointment?
No,
It's recommended,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
I signed a BBA on top of my car, so.
Yep.
What?
Sign-
Oh. Sorry.
Made a little extra cash too.
I think you said-
I mean, appointments could be over the phone, right?
Yep.
Like, could be virtual.
So
It could be
is
a
an
call.
appointment important,
Yes.
right? Cause we're going through our circle ones that are useful and needed. Should we circle appointment? Is it
I-
useful and needed? 100% yes.
Yes.
I just wanted to throw that out there because you don't have to do an appointment to do the rest of it. But 100% you should do it.
Well, you don't have the trust bond.
Yes.
What if it's like a family friend? Like, we're.
This is where I get messed up constantly. Because,
She sent me home, she
Yep.
sent me property she wants to go see.
yeah,
She's
she's
done all
ready
that.
to go see houses.
Well, what if you're
So-
family dinner, and they're like, hey, we wanna go look at houses next week.
So I just did that for family friend, and it's the first time I've asked for a review and they have not given me one yet. Because I didn't sit down and have a proper appointment. I just said, oh yeah, we're, you have besties, we know each other. And then things got weird because they were anxious about everything. And so I feel like I didn't do a good enough job communicating, setting the expectations. Professional.
In an appointment, where you
Yeah.
sit down together, okay.
It's fine, it kept me up.
So what do you guys think about our phone call appointment with just one?
I've done that to get, like, what are the concerns? I'd like to come sit with both of you, so what's your husband or wife or partner, like, what are their concerns, so I can bring answers? I never get full signatures if I don't talk to both.
You could say like, yeah, let's go out and let's grab dinner or something before, I don't know, and sit down and have that appointment.
Yes.
Just in your specific.
I love that. Yeah, especially if you're looking around homes here, it's like, hey, let's meet at my office.
Yeah.
We'll go over the whole game plan for 15-20 minutes, and then we'll go to the first house.
Fine.
That could be real, yep. Where is the best place that you can show your value, or really what you expect them to get out of you?
Where is the best?
Yeah, like, at the appointment,
Yeah,
right? Like if you are walking through houses and you're like, oh, hey, by the way, the agent told me that they're gonna pay 1% to me, you're gonna have to pay me 2% more. How easy is that if you've not talked about what you were doing?
So it's like a kick in the pants.
Yep. So the best place to explain your value is in the appointment. The best place to show it is probably through the rest of it.
so like I say, are you showing value throughout the entire process?
Yep.
So,
The problem is when you get here, what value have they seen from you? If you were showing houses,
So you drive to the house.
they've seen you drive to the house, you know what they also did? Drove to the house.
well, they also
So
see
you,
any communications.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're.
yeah, potentially, like, let's say this Amy one, right? Like, if they just go to houses and they're like, this is the one,
Right, they've already found the
they
property.
found the properties, so they're not even like, she did no check-in, she did no lead generation, and they just came to her. She's not doing emails or mailers, she didn't send them any houses, she doesn't even know their motivation, besides, they just moved here.
But
So-
you could potential client that you didn't even do that.
I'm out there,
Yeah. Whatever you're doing, keep it up.
now I need to show the value.
So yeah, setting an appointment, so you can set the expectations. What else should you be doing in the appointment? What other like touches or things should you do in the appointment?
Like you should be clarifying what they're looking for, right?
Yep,
So,
like, it's a word for that,
Like a question here, kind of, I have a.
like a
little
wants,
paper.
needs kind of a thing.
Yeah.
What they're looking for.
I think for their goals, but also what their expectations are for an agent, right? Because everyone has a different expectation. for an agent.
Yes, ooh, so set expectations, but also get expectations
Yeah.
set for you? Yeah, so like their expectations,
Yeah,
put motivation as well. Right,
yeah.
okay,
What's the second one after set expectations?
wants and needs. Yeah, what, you can't read that scribble?
Oh, I was just gonna say, keep
My
it
eyes
in
are
the
bad.
paper.
oh my gosh, I just had a client text me and say they wanna wait till after the election, cause that'll probably.
Did they really? Yes. Look at me predicting the future.
Call them up, put them on speakerphone, wall and.
Okay. So we can go two ways from here. I'm trying to figure out, because right now, the appointment, we are setting the whole stage for how we are gonna work. And that's what we're gonna communicate with them. Do you want us to try to figure that out now, or should we keep going stage by stage and determine what touches and value we add?
Stress level is pretty, a big one. I think
Stress levels go up once you sign the BBA and start looking at houses. So if you can set the tone and the pace, like the expectations, all that in the appointment, it's going to feel emotionally smoother.
Okay, I have a question then. We're gonna run a hypothetical. You have now decided that your commission is 10%. On any house. That $500,000 average, that $1 million plus luxury home, but you were charging 10%. What are you doing that someone would say, yeah, I'll pay that? This is so dirty on this side. Okay. How can you justify 10%?
I think in business, it's like, if you were to hire somebody to work for you, you would want them to make up the difference of the 10%, right? If I'm gonna pay you 10%, then how are you gonna make 10%?
Okay,
So I think in that situation.
so
it's
you're gonna
like,
save them money.
well, if I can get you 10% more for your house when I'm selling it, for example.
Yep.
you know,
We're talking buyers though.
So in that case, it's, I can get you 10% less on the
Yep.
house that you want.
How do you do that?
Negotiate.
Okay,
Gone.
we're gonna save them money. What else would you do? In our hypothetical situation? That you get 10% and someone thinks that's worth it. Do I need to throw out crazy ideas here?
All the friction. So,
What does that mean?
so that means that I will negotiate, I will make sure that they get what they want, how they want it, when they want it, and don't have questions.
Oh, there's basically say, you don't have to do anything. I'm gonna come to you with an exact plan. You get to decide whether you like the plan or not, and if there's anything that you wanna change, you get to change it. You the boss.
I work for you.
But I work for you, but I'm coming to you with the best possible plan that I feel like is possible.
Okay. What else? I would definitely bring them food.
Oh, I.
Every time I'm on a showing, I'm showing up with like
Snack.
something, yep, I have a bag of snacks. Yep. I'm gonna bring them their favorite swig drink every time we have showings.
I've definitely Ubered clients food, like if they're feeling sad.
Yep.
During a trip.
Food and snacks. What else you doing? Like an average house right now, $500,000, you are making $50,000 for one closing. What are you doing?
Getting their car cleaned and detailed.
Cleaning their car?
Oh, yeah. Hiring a nanny.
I think having like
Okay.
resources too, for like afterwards, resources for helping them with moving, helping them with anything that they want to have done, having like all those contacts. that
Oh, yeah,
help
like,
them
Red Sox, good truck.
With your vet, yeah.
So I actually got a flyer in the mail this morning from a real estate team saying, we will give you a $1,000 discount on your fees for anything. And we will have free junk removal, before your listing goes live. We'll
Interesting.
come and pay for junk to be removed. So I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, what's the equivalent of buyer? So you have the moving
Or
truck.
have all the maintenance, right? Let's say they need new carpet, they need new cleaners,
Cleaners.
you know, just clean, yeah, just all the things that you would want in a house before you move in.
Set all their utilities for them.
Set up.
I don't know if you
You
can.
can't, because the person.
There's a company that does it.
Really?
Yeah,
That's utility stuff?
does utilities. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, they have to have like your social and stuff, which is sketchy, but they will set up all your utilities and then they make money because they're gonna sell you internet and
Yeah, I
all
was
of
gonna
those
say,
things.
doing the research on like providers for them is a service you could do.
Yeah, that has to
Cause
be
that's
somewhere, right? That has to be somewhere where there's like per city,
title has it,
there is
they
information.
give it to them at closing.
They do? Good.
Yeah, so.
Okay, what else?
Is that soon enough?
You get $50,000 from your average closing. What would you do?
Definitely like after the sales close, like gift basket or something like that.
Expensive.
Like some
those
gift
gifts.
cards.
Okay, like with, yeah, like lots of gift cards and stuff. No.
What are we-
I'm just saying party. We're throwing a whole party. You don't get a basket, you get a moving in party. Then you get a gift basket.
Get a trader.
Yeah. Yeah,
Somebody was telling me, like knives that are engraved with like.
Zip Dean.
Yeah, with the-
And Cutco comes to the Tuesday lunches to talk about that.
yeah. To give them some sort of clothing gift. You made $50,000. Are they gonna feel bad that they get a knife?
How if they're really nice knives?
Are you doing anything else? What are you doing?
I mean, I paid services, giving all that information. I think I'd throw in paying for their move.
Yeah, so you're gonna pay for all these.
Well, I wanna keep some of the money, Cameron.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
we're replacing carpet, like we're out. Yeah, I don't think, yeah.
50%,
I think they can.
10%, you wanna walk.
That's.
I do offer to watch children like during, you know, so like I offer the
The
babysitting and
nanny,
stuff.
babysitter.
Do they trust you enough with their children?
Oh, yeah, if they sign a paper, like we're the biggest thieves at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Hey, what are we missing? Dream big. You're getting $50,000.
dream big, we give them,
Uh-huh. Anything else?
To be honest, I just figure out what they value, what's important to them, or what's a stress. And then that's my gift, that I work to remove that or a solution for that. And so like I feel like, when people add really things as gifts that may not even be valued by the client.
What if your client was like a jazz player
You get a signed basketball or something.
and they're gonna go buy a $5 million house?
You mean like jazz music or jazz basketball?
Probably the basketball. I don't know jazz musicians that make that much money. They're gonna go buy a $5 million house. So you're gonna make $500,000.
Give them a Lamborghini.
You're buying them a car.
Give them a Lamborghini, I'll keep the rest, the other 250.
Does that change anything? You're getting $500,000.
I'm getting 500.
Yeah, cause
Oh,
the jazz player is gonna buy a house and pay you a 10% commission.
Gifts and the services just get bigger. You know? more money based.
Sure.
Didn't
Maybe
you already
they
give
need
us
a
this
car.
example?
What?
Didn't you already give us this example?
But here's the
for
thing,
guy
there's-
This is a real thing, yeah, that, not 10%.
Driver, and the driver took around to see all the houses and.
Yep, they got a limo.
That brand new stupid helicopter.
No,
Maybe
yeah, yeah. There was an agent at Keller Williams who he did sports players. And he would partner with, so like if one of the jazz players wanted to buy a house and contacted him. He is not licensed here, but he would fly in and have a referral partner that would just hang out to open doors. And get paid like 5% of the commission or something like that. But then they'd hang out and the guy would like come from the airport, they'd drive everywhere in a limo, he'd have like food and drinks and everything all handled, and then it was like next level service for these kind of people, and that's like all he did. And so he would fly around the country helping these different clients, and he was licensed in a state but never closed transactions in that state. There's referral fees, but it was like he would get 95% of the commission as a referral fee. So it was like an interesting thought.
So, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Back to this, so this exercise is, what if we were getting 10%
Yes,
as a commission?
yep.
What would we do differently?
What would you just do?
Well, I mean, you could say, you could also argue the fact that I'm gonna give the best service for, that I can.
It's like you're taking the
consistent.
thunder from me.
Huh?
So
So
which of these,
the 10% would come and play with the gift that I give them, the housewarming gift that I give them, but as far as my service and what I'm doing on a daily basis, everybody should get the same.
yeah, which of these can you not do if your commission's only 3%?
The Lamborghini.
Food and snacks.
So you save money, remove friction and stress, have a plan, then customize food and snacks, a nanny or babysitter, movers, maintenance, utilities, party and gift. What changes?
Just the price, like
The amount that you spend, yeah.
That's it.
There is an agent that I heard when someone closes on a house, he hires a handyman for 2 hours. And the handyman comes and knocks on the door and it says, hey, I'm the handyman from your real estate agent. I will do anything you want to for 2 hours.
Love that.
Yep. It's not an attractive handyman. Anything your heart desires. Better scripting than that idea. So the whole idea of maintenance. I mean, what do you pay a handyman? Like $75 an hour or something like that? So for $150, they get someone, they can help them move. They can fix random things in the houses. They can break down boxes.
But we had,
They can go sit in their car and get no value out
we
of it.
got two meetings 2-3 weeks ago, that organization, the company is, well, so you gotta change your light bulbs, well, change your furnace filter.
Yep.
I mean, that's a great gift for people, especially first time home buyers,
Yeah,
because they don't know typically what all is entailed in maintaining a home.
yep,
And, you know, when I was in inspections, somebody would find a townhouse and I'd be like, you know, this is a great start because you only have to worry about the interior as a first time home buyer. You don't have to worry about the exterior, kind of get that foundation under you and then you move up. And then you can kind of start doing that.
That gives me an idea of something we didn't add to the list. Think back to your past and any unique values that you have that you could give, like an inspector. You could be like, hey, I am going to give you like a home introduction, like guide. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna teach you what your filter is, how to change it, how to keep up to date on all of these things, show you how to flush your sprinklers. Like I can do all of this as you're moving into your first ever home,
That would be awesome.
you know, and you know all of that.
But from my understanding and from the legal aspect, I gotta be
Yes.
really careful with what I say because. You know, you overstep that boundary, well, you told me this was fine,
Yeah,
and that made my decisions of not getting an inspector, because you kind of seemed like you knew. You were
yeah,
talking
I
about
would do
how
it,
to see.
like after the fact, like. Hey, as we're closing, I wanna come by and as like the final walkthrough, like give you a home orientation. You know, yeah,
I work with an inspector who offers that. He like sends it as a PDF and then you can print it and give your clients and it's like are you in the spring and the summer and fall.
yep. And then the next step of that is having someone that would do those services for you, yeah. So,
Like my mom, she's 8 years old, and
Yep.
the guy who built her home, put all the furnace filters in the ceilings, now the ceilings are 14 feet high. So she calls me, she's like, hey, you wanna come out? She goes, Arena. I'm like, you see my filters? I'm like,
No.
how much wine am I getting out of it?
I've drawn to Reno, that's not a very, that's not a trip you
But
wanna
that's
make,
anyway.
yeah. So. What is your value that you were gonna tell people in this appointment as we go through this process? Why are you worth 10%? We have a handful of things. But now look at this process and think, I'm still worth 10%. What do you do differently on showings? Or what do you do on showings? You're getting 10% of the commission or of the purchase price as your commission. What does a showing look like? That we didn't,
Be early and turn on the lights and be there to welcome them.
do you think you preview homes before?
Oh, I
And-
would,
You were getting that much money? That would probably make sense.
so I would be really picky because I know my client's picky,
Yeah. So you would go through it
probably with a white glove.
and see it and be like, this isn't worth your time.
I'd probably still send the listing and then just give them my feedback and then let them decide still.
What
I
else?
say, and I love that, but with the caution that it's objective feedback. I didn't like the color of the carpet. Leave me alone, you know?
Well, but by that point, like you would have already had an appointment with them, and
Right.
understood exactly their wants, their likes, their dislikes, the things they don't like. You send them examples and then they tell you, oh, I like this, but I don't like that.
When you
So
find it.
by the time you're previewing showings, you should already know, like, be pretty dialed in to what they like.
Yeah, well, and like Amber was saying yesterday, she's had people that are like, oh, we wanna fix her upper, and then she show them all these fixes, they're like, no, not too much, too much, too much. You show them, and they're like, this is our house, it's new construction, we don't have to do anything.
Yep.
So, you know, and kind of evolving with your client as you're moving through this process of what their wants and desires are. Because you may say, I want an in-ground pool. And then, you know, at your appointment, and then, you know, after showing a few houses, they're like, oh, you know what? I've got a 2-year-old, and I'm terrified that they're gonna fall in that in-ground pool, so
Yeah.
maybe we don't. And it's just constantly evolving with them. Being touched not just at the appointment, what their wants, needs are, but through the entire process.
Yeah, yeah, and I would add on that too, like, what they're saying is figure out a little bit deeper. Right, if they say, oh, I want a home with 3 bedrooms, and you look at them and they have 1 kid. And like, it's a teenage kid, so you're like, I don't think they're having more kids, why do you need 3 bedrooms? Like, asking those deeper questions, because if they're like, oh, well, we need an office. So it's like, oh, would you be okay with 2 bedrooms and an office, like in the basement or off the front of the house or something like that? Like those little things, like going a little bit deeper and asking why will let you actually expand or contract the search to the right thing. Because their words might not convey what they're actually wanting. Cause they have like 3 beds. No, you need 5, you have too many children. Something like that.
I had to go through things.
And then listen and explain this. You'll have some times where you will show someone something that doesn't match with what they've said, and you need to explain why. It is different. Say, hey, I am showing you this because you've said this, this, and this, which we haven't been able to find, and this actually has it, but it's a very different style than you wanted, or an area, or something else. Because a lot of times people just don't know. They've limited themselves to like a city or a school or whatever when they could be different. Okay, what would you do differently with, or better, or in general with offers? If you were getting 10%.
Negotiate, what you're negotiating. I guess you would look at, showing your value with, can't put it into words. Sorry. But essentially, you know, they're coming back with you and you're talking to this client and you're giving them advice. Well, you know, I think, or I've worked with this agent before, or, you know, what I've seen in the market, that we can really, you know, either bring this down or get some concessions or whatever it is. And showing them that, and then if you're kind of cutting into that 10%, not cutting into it, but showing the equivalent of it, you're like, listen, I can save you the $50,000. That's $50,000.
Yeah.
So if I can do that, you know, you're gonna feel better about.
Yeah, back to the save the money, yeah. Cause you're negotiating. What else?
Things about potentially finding how to gain negotiation power. It's like you're looking into why they're selling. You're looking into any information you could potentially get that would give you leverage in negotiation.
A lot of times on my listings, I'll just like get an offer in my email, like no word from the agent, nothing, and I'm like, what? Like, when I'm gonna write an offer, I'm gonna call the agent, I'm gonna prod for as much information as you give me. Maybe sometimes I get lots of things out of it, sometimes they don't say anything,
Yeah.
but I think that's huge in writing an offer, is like, wow, like, why are the sellers selling? How to make our offer more appealing without putting our clients in a poor situation. And I think communication is really important between agents, and
Yes.
my last several deals have been like pulling teeth to get the agent to answer the phone. It's like, wow, this is like an industry we're supposed to talk to each other. And
They sold the house to an influencer. And they got more updates on following the influencer than from the agent.
just answer your phones. It's not hard.
Say, honestly, sometimes lack of communication can be beneficial. You know, sometimes you over communicate as a buyer or a seller, and it shows that you're always telling a story with the way that you communicate or lack of communication. Like us.
Yeah, that probably goes back to your have a plan and then customize.
Yeah.
Hey, how I operate is I'm gonna keep you in the loop of everything. That means that we're probably gonna talk every other day, every 3 days. I will call you on the phone. Does that sound like a plan for you? If that's too often, not enough, or you just want a text update, I can change that.
And that
Super
includes
easy.
Your appointment, I got you.
Yep,
in
in your appointment.
Like, to be communicated with.
Yeah, how do you like to be communicated? This is what I typically do. Is that gonna be okay, or should I up it? I don't know how you could word that better, to be like, am I gonna hit your standards? Cause these are mine.
On the offer, I
yes.
think making sure that they understand as a buyer, like which elements are negotiable and what they can change when you review it. I've had agents that I've worked with when wanting to buy a property that are just like, oh, well, you know, we never go below the listing price. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. Everything is conversion. You know, but I think a lot of people don't know that. So
Yeah.
giving them that like explanation and then explaining it, because most people aren't gonna read through the rep sheet.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. They're gonna sign it with trusting you in a lot of ways. And so walking through and explaining which pieces and what that means. Like, okay, well, if you change this, this is how it impacts it.
When I think with that is being very in tune with like their lender,
Yeah,
right? If their lender is like, we need closing costs, and all of a sudden you're in a multiple offer situation. And you're like, do we need to strip our closing costs? And if the lender says we need them, and the buyer's expecting you to ask for them, and all of a sudden you didn't ask for them, like, are they gonna be okay with that? Like, now they have to come up with some closing costs with the lender. Can you figure out something with them? So having like the whole team all on the same page might be there. There's this agent, she does a lot of staging, Cindy Yates. When she goes under contract with her buyers, she goes to their house and like has balloons and celebrates that their offer got accepted. I always thought that was funny.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Door.
yeah.
It's, your.
Oh, Jan Jorgensen,
Jen.
yeah. Yeah, you can do fun things like that. Yeah.
Is that kind of how she tells them?
Yeah, so she'll literally like get the accepted offer and then go to the house with balloons and knock on their door and be like, congratulations, we're under contract. And I think if they're not home, she'll take a video of herself on their doorstep and send it to them. Like, I came to your house to tell you, we're under contract, I'm leaving balloons.
They accepted the offer.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. I don't know what they do is if like the seller counters and you just sign to accept, because then that's not as fun. Maybe she still does it. I don't know.
So is it lame? Just make it-
Nope, because I make a phone call. This. I'm so lame. So that's one of those things that you can add value with the surprise and delight section, right? I can call you and say, congratulations, you're under contract, dance party, put some music in the background or whatever. And that can be just as fun and exciting as she's showing up with balloons. But when you show up with balloons, they're definitely not expecting that.
Well, it totally depends on the client, like
Yeah.
sometimes I might bug them, like, okay,
Totally.
here.
I'm happy with a thumbs up text. We got it, thumbs up. Like, that is enough for me. But I always think about this, like, Fixer Upper, right? You guys watch that on HGTV? How do they reveal the house?
With the,
Pull the truck
they
forward.
pull the.
They
old
have
image
An
apart.
old image and they pull it apart and then there's the new house. How does every other Fixer Upper type show do it? They pull up to the house and they walk in.
Close your eyes.
Yeah, yeah, they come in the house like this, it's like, yeah. We watched how much work they put on that front yard and you close your eyes that whole time, So they just do that little extra thing and that is a system that they can put in place, like. They have a picture of the old house, don't look until you get past it, and like, that's a surprise and delight. I mean, now it's normal, it would be weird if you just like, Chip's just like, hey, yeah, this is the yard now.
Yeah, that would be weird.
So. We're running out of time. I like to think through this as like you're gonna make a ton of money. Because then that starts to remove the limitations that I put on myself. Right, if I'm gonna make $50,000 at closing, like. I would pay for some stuff, I would probably hire an assistant way before I would, just to do some of these things. I would start to do things differently. Then I come back to reality and I try to think, what could I do here? Because like our list that we did here, we're just not gonna go crazy, or maybe we're not gonna pay with them, but like. Could we have movers that we say, here is our preferred moving company, by the way, we've negotiated 10% off or something, if you want to use them. Hey, I hired a maintenance guy for 2 hours, so it's $150, maybe that's your gift. Hey, I'm gonna throw a home warming, I wanted to say coming, house warming. Yeah, it's not a home warming, it's a house warming, yeah. Like house coming, homecoming. So I'm gonna throw you a housewarming party to invite all of your friends, and that's like your like closing gift to them. So you can start thinking of all of these clever things that you can do. And the housewarming party, I'm pretty sure if you went to your lender that just closed whatever loan with this buyer and says, hey, I'm gonna throw them a housewarming party, can you put in $200? They'd probably be like, yeah, and I'm coming. And I'm gonna try to get all of their friends to use me.
What about is that you have the friends numbers to.
Yep,
Should we have an open house sign in?
yes.
Hello, welcome to the.
You might have to get a bouncer. like the velvet rope and let people in.
Yeah.
So a lot of these are like surprise and delight. We wouldn't wanna talk about these in the beginning,
Maybe.
right?
So here's some advice that I got one time is whatever you're gonna do, try to do it with everyone. There was this agent that taught this customer experience class, and he said that he would buy a bottle of wine for people. And then he never heard any feedback on that, so then he changed it and started to buy something else. I don't even remember where it was. But then a buyer closed and was like, I'm so excited to get my bottle of wine. And he is there with like his Cutco knife or something ready to hand it to him. And he's like, oh, like, yeah, like my friends bought a house and they have this wine that they're like saving for a special occasion kind of a thing that you bought them. And he's like, oh, maybe I should start giving wine. So then, I don't know. His name's Peter. You should tell him like, Peter, just ask, no, Peter Shabriz. I think he's in Ohio or something. But, so. Whatever you think that you're gonna do, like try to figure out how to always do it, because people will, like, especially with referrals, they'll like to do that. Now, that doesn't mean you can't change and improve things, like maybe someone would love a Cutco knife way better than a bottle of wine. Like, that could be a real conversation.
But not everyone, again, not everyone likes it. I mean, I'd love to know, like, do a housewarming party when you're all settled. And then by that point, someone's like, well, everyone's already forgetting.
Yeah.
But. Guess I should have gone earlier. What do you do for your housewarming party? I usually just bring food, and I mean, obviously it depends on the house and what the day is, but. Well, I've always had them do it, but I recently learned, like, no, you have them make you a guest list with their phone numbers, and then you have their information.
That's easier for your client anyways. And for you, because you get new referrals.
Yeah. Kind of make that easier.
It's a great time.
I'm a partier, though. That's like, I do parties, so that's what I like.
We're like talking about her business. We're like, what should we do? She's like, well, I'm gonna throw a Halloween party. I'm like, okay, well, get business from that. What are we gonna do for Christmas? All right, your next party. Parties.
That's what we do.
That's the business plan. Okay, so I want you to go through this and write out what you want to do. Right, start expensive. What would you do if you made $50,000 of clothing, and then back it down to I'm only making $6,000? And then what would you do? Right at $6,000. We're going from 50 to 6. Like, could you save them money?
Yeah.
Yep, you could for sure do that. Could you remove friction and stress? Yeah, we're probably gonna have to dial in how we do that. Could you have a plan and then customize? Yeah, we'll probably have to build the plan. Could you do food and snacks?
Yeah.
That would be real easy to throw a cooler in your trunk and put a bunch in there. Could you do a nanny? Maybe not. Maybe you could do a babysitter. Maybe you have a babysitter that you use and trust, and you just say, I have a person available to watch your kids if you need it. Like, I'm not paying for it, but they're trusted. Could you add some services? Could you do the party? Could you do gifts? You can do a lot of these things. As we scale it back, you're just not gonna go crazy and pay for all of it. Questions, thoughts?
Okay, so, I was sort of expecting, like, hoping, maybe just hoping that we were gonna like get into like percentage packages, kind of like Shelly talked about
Yes.
yesterday or Tuesday. And I know it's easier to do that when you're the listing agent, because you're like, well, I can provide all these services. I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, how can we create tiered packages, or like, what would you, maybe just for
Yes.
time, what would you suggest as like top level package? What's the percent you would suggest, and then we can fill it.
I would suggest having 2 packages.
Okay,
I know that probably goes against everything in your marketing bone.
yes,
The reason being is we live in Utah. If I tell someone I have a 2.5%, a 3%, or a 3.5%, they are gonna choose 2.5% often.
so do 3 or 4,
Yep.
I love it, I can do it.
The difference would be I would start paying for things with the 4%. I am going to pay for you to have so much money towards movers. I am going to pay so much for a handyman to come in and fix whatever you want. I'm gonna, whatever.
Do we care about the law that tells us not to spend more than $250?
No, because that's more like referrals and stuff.
That's just for.
Yeah, when someone closes on a house, you can give them more, whatever you want.
So you're saying a 3% and a 4% for both buying a buyer
Uh-huh,
and a listing agent?
yep.
Wow.
If you were gonna do the seller, I would do a smaller package that would be. If there's an unrepresented buyer. I'm 3% plus 1% for the buyer, so it's 4% total rather than a 6% total or 7 or.
Wait, so would you suggest on the 3-tier package, maybe not even putting 2.5 at all, and then if they're still like, I don't know about 3, then you might say something about 2.5, but you're not presenting it.
Yeah, I would accept 2.5%, but I don't wanna present it. Yeah, I would think more people would choose that than not.
Like, you're still gonna sign up 200%, okay.
Yeah,
There's some jerk agents that offer 1%. And they're the worst,
yeah.
just saying that.
Get what you pay
You
for.
can quote me, I don't care.
Yeah, if you get into like harsh negotiations and the only way to make it work is to go from 3% to 2%. Like, do you decide you're okay with that? And that's your low package is, oh crap, I wasn't as good of a negotiator as I thought, so I didn't save anyone money. And so I'm taking the hit there. Or you can be like, nope, that's not enough. I at least need to get 2.5%, so you need to come up with another 0.5%. And that's either the other agent, the seller, or the buyers themselves. And then you just sign saying, I'm good with 2.5 rather than 3. Other questions, other thoughts, anything?
Yesterday, they had mentioned was like, um. The packet.
Oh, yes, a packet.
Do you-
Yes, that link that I sent you, I think it has it on, if you scroll all the way down to templates.
Send it to my email.
I think I texted it to you. Unless I have your wrong number.
Is that the template we were talking about at the beginning?
Oh, okay,
The buyer presentation.
yeah.
The buyer presentation, seller presentation.
Yep. I would suggest that you never skip a buyer presentation, consultation, whatever you want to call it, for the appointment. That is probably your biggest way to make sure that you get the amount of money that you want. Because if you are making an offer and you show 2 houses, it does not seem like you will make, or you are going to do enough work to earn your 3%. I have a feeling that the under contract process and the writing the offer is where you earn the most amount of your money. A lot of people mention that showing houses and finding houses, right? That was a survey, help me find the right house. But that's not where all your value comes in. Could they go on Zillow and find houses? Yep. They could do all of that. But negotiating the offer, you'll save them the most amount of money there, get them exactly what they want. And then making sure that it's the right property and getting through all the way to the closing table is the other valuable piece. So your whole value is not even being seen when you're writing the offer.
Are we gonna end up doing like negotiation classes?
Sure, you want to?
If you're saying that's really where the most of our value comes from, I feel like we need to be like.
Should we do like a negotiation battle?
Oh, God.
Hey,
It'd be like high school debate. all
Yeah.
over again.
Yeah, we'll put 2 podiums up here.
yeah,
With Cody's class, it was really, kind of eye-opening one. You know, it's great to get different people's perspective, because he was like, yeah, like I'll write an offer and, you know, with a non-refundable escrow. But then I'll follow that one up with the FHA, because you can't have a non-refundable escrow with an FHA loan. And he's like, so, you know, they think, oh, great, we're getting this non-refundable escrow. But then they sent the second one, and he said a lot of agents don't know that, you know, you can't not have.
They don't read it. It
refundable escrow.
literally says,
Yeah, he's like, no, you're
they'll
not.
get this back.
And I was like, oh, so there's so many different angles that, you know, I'm starting to see, and I'm probably haven't even scratched the surface on, you know, how you can kind of, for lack of a better term, manipulate the process.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of different terms. Okay, we'll work that in. We're gonna have a negotiation battle.
Class, Gavin's teaching next week about negotiating an offer.
I also had an agent tell me that he has Chat GPT and does negotiation battles with Chat GPT. And then goes back and forth with them and then asks him, whatever chat is, hey, how could I have done this better? And gets feedback. I thought that was an interesting way to like practice at home. Kind of an idea. But the best way to negotiate is to ask. It's like, that's why I never want to ask an agent, what are you willing to offer as commission? I just want to ask them for 3%. Cause maybe they'll just be like, well, this is what they asked for, let's give it to them. Okay, so your homework, yeah.
Concept is
Huge.
helping them remember all of the deadlines,
Yep,
helping them, give them
Yeah,
vendors for inspectors.
the two big things that I see as huge value is number one, the due diligence, like. I want to make sure that you feel comfortable and confident with this house, that there's no project that's too big. And if there is, we're already negotiating that in to be taken care of, or you get a discount in some way, so you can take care of that. Like making sure they don't get like a lemon kind of an idea. That's the biggest thing with the due diligence. And then the next is that they're not overpaying for their house. So like the whole financing part of it, like they have the best lenders that's gonna give them best terms, and it is within the appraisal that makes it sense. Buying a house that appraises under than what you pay for it is fine. But that gives you a whole nother time to negotiate, so you can get it cheaper. I have no problem paying over an appraised price, because you set the new appraised price. So it's like, if you buy a condo here and you pay 10 grand over list price, now every condo is worth 10 grand more, because they're the exact same. So you just set the new bar. But I have a problem if it appraises for 10 grand lower than your price and you don't try to go negotiate and get it for less than that. Because when you accepted your offer, you were okay with that price. Now that it appraised, like someone else has their opinion and you're like, oh wait, no, it's not good enough anymore. But so I'm gonna go in and negotiate. As a buyer, I never try to bring the value up. As a seller, I always do. So like bringing the value up would be like sending comps to the listing agent to try to bring it up. As a buyer's agent, I've never done that.
So what would be the rebuttal for that then? Hey, we got the appraisal back. Well, it looks like we're gonna overpay 10 grand, we want 10 grand less now, we want the appraised value. As a seller, what would your comeback be to that?
We agreed on this price. You were willing to pay for it, like, let's come up with the cash.
Yeah, because you have to make up that equity in
Yeah.
down payment,
Yep,
because that means the bank will finance.
Right.
above
yeah,
the
like
appraisal.
a 10 grand off means you have to come up with $10,000. So some buyers just can't. And so they'll just be like, can't do it. So when you're a buyer and the appraiser comes in low, it's like gold. It's like, hey, I have this awesome opportunity. You might have to pay a little more cash, but I can get you this home cheaper. Like if you can come in with 5 grand more, we can get you 5 grand off.
Well, and some or listing agents know that it's gonna be harder, like now they have the appraisal,
Yep,
I don't, in my experience. it's-
yes,
Well, now you have the appraisal and like, good luck getting another offer this year.
especially if it's FHA. An FHA appraisal sticks with the property for 6 months. So anyone else getting an FHA loan is gonna have that same exact appraisal. They don't even send someone new out. So it's like the sellers are kind of getting screwed at that point. So that's where you like try to send more properties or whatever to try to get it working. So, okay, so your homework. I want you to think through the whole buyer life cycle and do this thing. Make a list of all of these touches, circle the ones that needed and useful, and then how it helps. And could you do this different? And think big, right? How would I do this with $50,000? And how do I do it if I'm on a team and I'm only getting $6,000? And then commit to trading out one useless touch. If you have useless touches, don't do them. Yeah, Gary Keller once said, don't ever mail someone something that they wouldn't pay $1 for. Because it costs about $1 to send out a mailer to someone. If I receive this and don't think this, I would pay $1 for this, then don't sell it, don't send it.
Can we use a, list that Shawnee shared a couple weeks ago, of like the 176 things an agent does for you during the transaction process?
Yes. You should add a lot of that things to like your buyer presentation and things like that. Because often we won't communicate the things that we do and the value that we add. Right? Like, how do you put a price on, I woke up at 2 in the morning worried about your transaction? What is that worth to a buyer? Like, that is valuable to them that someone else cares about it and is waking up in the middle of the night stressing. But there's not like a value. And do you want to share that with your buyers? Hey, I didn't sleep last night because I was stressing about you and all of your bad situations that you've gotten yourself into. It's not something you share, so.
I could forward you the email.
Is it online?
That we just know we said.
I actually just clicked on it.
Where did you find it?
Thanks, Ritz.
It's in,